Hello, hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is your girl Mitzi, and this is Mitzi. Let's think about it. Today, we are thinking about publishing a book without being scammed. Oh, ladies and gentlemen, isn't this a thinker that we really need to think about, especially if you're considering this process of publishing, how to be aware, what to really be conscientious about. And luckily, I have Donna here, who is a pro at this, who wrote a book about this, who has written so many books that she knows the deal. And that's why she's here to help us out to really think about this, to give us that awareness, that warning. So thank you so much, Donna, for coming on to my show and sharing your time and your perspective. When you hear these words, publishing a book without being scammed, what does that make you think about?
Well, that makes me think about all the times that I've had people come to me and say, "Hey, can I do this for you? Can I do that for you?" And come to find out what they were really looking for was my bank account. Then they didn't care about my book. They didn't care about me. They cared about what I could do for them.
Mm-hmm,
So
mm-hmm.
I've figured out during as time went on, what works and what doesn't. Um, the we when we think about publishing, we think about the first thing that comes to mind is getting that big deal with the big traditional publisher. I had a friend that actually went through that process, and people actually had a bidding war for her book. She didn't pay, mind you; they paid her. And you got to remember that with when you're dealing with traditional publishers, if you're going to um, deal with a if it's a traditional publisher if they tell you how much money they're going to pay you, not how much you're going to pay them
Mm-hmm.
right off the bat.
Yeah, I love that you said that. Because people don't realize the difference between self-publishing and traditional publishing and those
Right.
scammers and even those hybrid publishing. I mean, there's so many in between that it's kind of really hard to have that understanding of where to go because I've even heard that traditional publishing sometimes you need a PR agent and you have to have a big
Mhm.
following and you have to have all of this already preset before even getting into the traditional publishing route. I mean, is that kind of what you've seen as well?
Right, exactly. In most cases, like I said, my friend, when she did hers, she was able to. I mean, it was a timely topic, and people were interested in it, and the publishing companies knew that it was going to be a big seller, and her book was. So that's something you got to kind of look at. There's if you're going to go for a big publisher, it has to have a big following. It can't be just something like your memoir is not going to cut it unless you've got a big name. So you know um, your novel may or may not be something that people necessarily want to get from a big publisher. That's why there's also small press. A lot of times they don't have the money in the background that the big publishers have, so they, you know, they're more apt to get the more niche ideas. The
Yeah.
niche books um, with
Yeah.
smaller followings, and then you really need to have that following. And the more following you have, the better your book's going to sell. Even whether you're a traditional publisher, a small publisher, or a self-publisher, it doesn't matter. The more following you have as a writer, the more you're going to sell your books.
Yeah, yeah, most definitely. I don't think people really think about it in that aspect. You know, they just think if I just write a book, then I will make it on the best sellings list and I
Right.
will be on the top. But it's like it's really hard to actually get to that point. So, I mean, what are some misconceptions about publishing that a lot of people may have along with the of what you just stated?
I'm not sure exactly what you're
So like
getting at.
some misconceptions in the publishing realm, like kind of for for instance, like a misconception that I keep hearing a lot is that you need to have almost like $10,000 to even publish a book in a self-publishing route or things like that. Like you have to have a big amount of money. Is that true in your perspective?
No, if with today's with AI help, you can get AI to help you somewhat. I mean, you don't want the AI to write your book because that's not what I'm talking about. But you can use them to help you find and create covers and different things like that. Like I use Canva a lot myself
Yeah,
to
me
create
too.
covers and to create advertising and different things like that. So you can use Canva a lot for your
Yeah.
pictures and whatnot.
Yeah, Canva is very useful. Like people do not realize like you don't need to have this graphic designer certificate or degree to actually create great materialistic advertising or promotional material. You know what I mean? Like you just have to
Right.
have just the template, if anything. I mean, that's the nice thing about Canva. They provide you all these free templates or you can
Right.
pay for them. You know what I mean? There's so many different ways to go about it. So, like,
Mhm.
what are some pros when it comes to actually publishing your book? Like, what have you noticed when it comes to that?
Well, one of the things when it comes to publishing your book, it's the first, well, you gotta if you don't want to spend a lot of money, you gotta learn how to edit yourself. And you need to use the like I was talking about AI. Grammarly works really well for helping you edit. It doesn't do the editing for you or anything. And once you've used that course or whatever, you can go and you want to get another person to edit for you. You want to have, and again, you have to find the right people, people that know what they're doing as far as editing goes. And then as far as looking for somebody to publish your book, there's in the self-publishing realm, there's several different companies, and you want to find the one that's right for you. A lot of people will go straight to Amazon, and that may not always be the right fit for you as a self-publisher. There's Ingram Spark, there's Lulu, and I there's a number of other ones that they pay based on how many books you sell through them. It's basically how they work.
Yes, yes. I like how so honest you are. I mean, you could get the Grammarly app and add it in and make the adjustments and they'll do the basic, you know what I mean, making sure that your structure's there, making sure that your punctuation's there, making
Right,
sure that you have your capitalization where it should be, your commas. I mean, all of those little niche details that even sometimes you can read a book and you can see like, oh, they forgot that. There's a misspelling or you know what I mean you can see that once a certain book's already published. So it's like
right.
having that first Grammarly run through and then sending it off to another editor is a great tip because it gives you that extra eye, that outsider's perspective too, so that
Right.
they can see it in a different light as well. And I think that's very valuable information. Oh, such great valuable information. So when you've been writing your books, I mean, because I know you have more than, oh my goodness, more than 15 books out. So when you've published your books, what have been like the biggest roadblock that you've faced?
I would have to say it's in marketing. Marketing is can be really difficult. You want to, again, you want to get as many people following you as possible. You want to get your followers to encourage people to read your book too. One of the things that works really well is if you talk to somebody and say, "Hey, would you put this specific information on your social media page?" And um, they'll a lot of times they'll do it because they like you.
Exactly. And I think, and I even know that you created this group to actually help other authors and illustrators to actually feel like they have a safe place to explore. Do you mind elaborating more on your group that you created?
On Okay, I started Self Publishers Unite, and
Mm.
it's a site for self publishers to go to find out more information about self publishing. And Um, I have one, I have my first classroom um, course that's on there that covers the basics of self-publishing from, inception, the idea of your book all the way through to including some of the marketing basics. I'm working on another um, project where um, we do just marketing and marketing specifically, where we kind of go through a little bit deeper. And like I said, it's still in process, but it's going to be out very soon.
Oh, that's so nice. It's nice that you have these, you provided this safe space for self-publishers or for all of these individuals who are part of this community. You know what I mean? Because people don't realize that when you're writing a book, it's not just you. You have the editors, you have the illustrators, you have the publisher
Right.
companies, you have the ghostwriters, you know what I mean? So many different people play in this part of creating books that it's really nice to know that you have this space available so that if somebody has a question or somebody has a concern, at least you can put it there and then you get
Right.
real advice from real people who either have the experience or they have the knowledge or they have just the understanding of what they're going through. So it makes you feel seen, it makes you feel heard, it makes you know that you're not going through this process alone. And when you're writing a book, it's really not only intimidating because you're putting a part of you out there in the world, but it's also scary because it's like, how do I know that these people are not going to take my writing or you know what I mean, things of that nature. So
Mhm.
what have you learned to help people along so that they don't have the fear of that someone's going to steal their work?
Oh, but the idea of stealing somebody's work, it doesn't happen all that often.
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
Because
Thank you.
it really doesn't, because especially with unknowns. I mean, people might try to steal somebody that's better known or, that has a big following or whatever. But excuse me. So you probably want to, um, once your book is written and you start getting some traction, you'd probably want to go ahead and get it copyrighted. And copywriting isn't as hard as you might think. You can Google get a copyright, and it'll tell you step by step how to do it. That's how I learned it.
Yeah, me too. I mean, that's how I learned it too from my first publishing company because they didn't offer copywriting. So I was just like, well, I will do it myself. And I figured it out. I went on the website and it is really a step-by-step process. And as long as you put your information in there, then it's real. And I love how you were said like it's not very common for people to steal your work. And I've even had other people, another publishing company told me too, like you have all of the receipts. You know what I mean? You have the first
Right,
draft, the second draft, all of these drafts they're
right,
dated through Microsoft Word. So there's really no way to somebody to say like, oh, that this is my original work when you have all of the
right.
receipts to prove that. And I think that's one thing that should give people that peace of mind, knowing that when you share a glimpse or an idea or a part, a section of your book, not to have that fear factor that somebody's going to take it and then run with it.
But when one thing you do have to realize though is if you do go to court over a book, you
Hmm.
better have it copyrighted because they won't even look at you at the court in court without the copyright. So
Mm.
before you go to court, make sure you have it copyrighted with your name on it.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you gotta do the safe thing about it. So it's like, what other ways have you seen that people had tried to scam you when it comes to publishing a book?
Well,
Or maybe not you directly, but just
right.
overall what you've seen. Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of times it's in the marketing. Like I said, marketing is the most difficult part. And a lot of times, what will happen is somebody will hit you up for, say, I'll put your book out there. We have so many thousands of readers. And well, just the other day, I had somebody come to me. They said, I have 850 readers, and we want to do your book as a in our book club. And I didn't even get to the point where basically she goes, well, it'll cost you, some money, and I thought, forget it. 850, first of all, isn't that many people.
Hmm.
And second of all, if I want to do a book club, I'll do it myself yeah, I can do it on Facebook. I can do it on, in, what do you call that? Instagram.
Yeah,
Um, I could create one on my school platform. It's only, I mean, so why would I want why would I want to do it with you when with just 850 people? So,
exactly.
that's a big thing that people will try to do is they'll try to get you to or to go with their you know, join my catalog, and I know one time I paid $150 to get into a catalog of somebody who had a big following, and I didn't even it didn't even pay for the $150 from the that directory that I put my book in. So you got to watch that too. Um,
Oh yeah.
Most of the time, it's you need to get your own following. I think as a self publisher, in different
Yeah.
ways.
Oh
Get on
yeah.
podcasts like this one. Um, it does help.
Oh
That
yeah.
does.
I believe it. And I've seen a big difference, especially with being on a podcast or just having your own podcast like myself. There's more you encounter more real, sincere individuals.
Right.
And in this industry, you kind of need to find those people, you know what I mean? And it's so easy to think, oh, if I pay this amount or this here, then maybe it'll
Right.
give me the exposure that I need. But it's like it's a 50-50 chance. I mean, you might not even be
Probably
seen.
not even 50-50. It's more like 10-90 that you don't.
Yeah, yeah, that's true because I remember when I first published my first children's book, I had all these people come to me the same way they came to you and like, "Oh, you could do this, you could do that. I have over thousands of followers and you can if you just pay $25 and I'll just share your book." And so I was ignorant and naive, so I did one of them and he never even posted it. You know what I mean? He never
Right.
even shared it.
Right.
So it's like exactly like you
Right.
said, like that 10%. He didn't even do his job, so it's just like I can't even
Right.
file a claim against that.
They'll get your money up front and then they don't do anything with it. And there's nothing you can do about it.
Exactly, exactly. And that's the crappy thing about marketing is that you think you're going doing something, but it's not really working. And then, or you really have to be careful for those ones that say they have 2 million followers, but they only get one like. You know what I mean? Like, how does that make any
Right.
sense? Because that's
Right.
really you are marketing through like a ghost platform because half of those people that those following is not actually real people. You probably have two people in there, and the rest of those millions are actually robotic those plant farms that I've seen that they have just these iPads and these tablets and these phones stacked up and they're just streaming and they're just liking and they're just following people, but they're not actually real human interactions. And I think that's another big
Right.
scam that people have to watch out for too.
And I think it does help, um, being able to see someone. I'm personally going to be starting my own YouTube channel
Nice.
this today, actually.
Nice.
Late after I finish this here, I'm going to be starting it. So by the time this shows, I'll should have quite a few on there,
Nice.
because I think we need to be able to see people as they really are.
Hmm.
I'm going to try to do it not editing any, so that people can see a real person acting real stupid if I have to. You know what I mean?
Yes, it's about that authenticity. You know what I mean? People want to
Exactly.
see the authenticness. They want to see the ups, the downs, the beautiful and the ugly because that's what makes people relatable.
Because we're real. I mean, why
Yeah.
not be real? You
Yeah.
know, we don't that's where I think AI will always fall short is that
Mhm.
it'll never be authentic. Not totally authentic.
Yeah, because we need that human interaction. We need
Hmm.
this community
Right.
of relating and conversing and viewing life in a perspective that when you talk to somebody, you can visualize what they're saying. You can feel what they're saying. I mean, that's what makes us human. We're emotional beings. You know, we can
Right.
feel everything that the other person feels, and we can also know when somebody's lying. You know what I mean? Like we
Yeah.
get that like boom,
Yeah.
boom, some things doesn't feel right. Like they don't actually their words don't match their actions. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
when
Right.
I say I'm gonna selflessly promote your book, I'm gonna promote your book and I'm gonna add it to my Instagram, I'm gonna share, and you're gonna see it on my platforms. You know what I mean? You're gonna see
Hmm.
see it and you're gonna see the consistency so that you know, like, okay, she's actually about what she says. And I think that's the thing that people need to really look out for is that consistency. Do you see
Right,
it on their page? Do you see it on their website? Do you see it on all of their platforms? You know what I mean? And even
right,
reach out to a person directly. You know what I mean? Don't be afraid to slide into someone's DMs and
right,
have that interaction to know if they're real or not. Because if you don't have that safety, that feeling when just by having that interaction, then why would you even go anything further? You know what I mean?
right.
It's like you
And
have to go ahead.
yeah, and it also helps to get to know the people that are following them. You know,
Mm-hmm.
if you follow uh let's say a marketer, okay, and there's other people that are following them, you follow them and see how real they are, you know,
Mm-hmm.
because I mean, if like you were saying, if their platform is like they just came up yesterday, well, you know that isn't real.
Yeah.
Um, so, and you if they've when you do talk to your marketer, you ask them, you know, who have you supported? You know, you want to go and check out um, who's used their business,
Yeah.
excuse me, and see if see and out from the people who followed them or who use their services what how they're going to be, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
Exactly.
did they give them what they asked for? I mean, like you can say, hey, this company, if somebody asked you about that one company you were talking about, I said, this guy doesn't follow through,
Mm-hmm.
you know?
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Following through is such a big component because that that's your rapport, you know what I mean?
Hmm.
And your rapport is everything. It comes down to everything, especially when it's any type of business. You're not going to buy a dress from a store that you realize their material is so frail that it breaks after the first use. Like that's not what you're gonna want. You know what I mean?
Right,
You
right,
want that sturdiness. You want that oh, if it gets dirty, I'll be able to actually wash it and not have to worry that it's gonna get ruined in the washing machine, that I don't always have to
right,
dry clean it. You know, it's the same thing with a book. Like this is your baby, you know what I mean? Like your books are your baby, and when you publish it out into the world, you want to make sure that you're using the right publishing company, that you are marketing it in a way that is actually makes you feel good, that makes you feel seen, that makes you feel valued, and that if you don't want to jump through hoops, then don't jump through hoops. You know what I mean? Like, see
yeah,
how it works through for you so that you don't have to either make yourself look like a fool or make yourself look like a mean person. Because sometimes people feel like, oh, if I'm in the extremities, then at least that's how I get noticed because some any publicity is good publicity, but in reality, like not all the time because it's who you are, you know what I mean? That's gonna follow you for life. That's the reason why a lot of the times
right,
actors have a problem transitioning from one area of the industry to another because people can't see them outside of that role. You know what I mean? So it's just like
right.
we have to take that into
I think a
consideration.
lot of times they take themselves too seriously too.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think that's why there's so many relationships that don't work because they did something on set together, they got along really well, you know, that kind of thing.
Exactly, exactly. That's so valid. Oh, time is catching up to us, Donna, and I'm sad because I always enjoy talking to you. I love the always just hearing your thoughts and just picking your brain. So, what can be some lasting words that you can leave us off with to keep on thinking?
Well, look at your book, you know. Do you are you know how consider self-publishing in the beginning. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Set yourself up so that if for some reason I mean, you may be wanting to go the traditional route, but if you can't, have yourself set up so that you can go the self-publishing route if you want to, and know everything there is to know about public writing your book, publishing your book, and marketing your book before you ever get started. Because even if you do traditionally publish, you're going to want to know. You're going
Exactly.
to want to know what to do.
Exactly. That's great words for us to really consider on thinking because we need to know for our peace of mind so that we can go to sleep at night knowing that we made the right choice. And especially your advice about set your mind up for self-publishing routes, because you can find a very affordable self-publishing routes, and you can also find very expensive ones as well. So it's just like you have to weigh it out, and don't be afraid to keep looking. Don't be afraid to ask those questions. Don't be afraid to just ask those questions, to know that you have the peace of mind in what you're doing. And oh my goodness, so many great ways. And if you want to join Donna's group to be interactive, to find her courses and even her YouTube channel that's going to be available by the time this episode airs, and all of the great stuff that Donna has to offer. Oh my goodness, she has so many great books, so many great books, and even a book on this specific topic on how to not be scammed when you publish a book. Ah, the whole point. So if you really want to read more, because it has really great content in the book, she goes down to traditional publishing, she goes down to the self-publishing market as well. She goes through everything about what we just said, but in more detail, just so that you can continue on thinking. So don't do yourself a disservice. Continue on thinking. With that being said, bye.